Hey everybody, it's Michelle with Cohesive Design with the double G's, and we are here today to talk about Pacific Table Southlake, Texas. I just wanted to go over a little bit on what our design process was for this particular location. Sometimes in a second generation space, we demo out part of the building and part of the seating or the kitchen if it doesn't work with the flow. This particular concept that we went into had really great bones, and it's very booth centric. The entire space is pretty much booth seating, except what we have on the enclosed patio and for ADA compliant seating that's required. Really in this space it was strictly finishes and lighting. So I'm going to go through a little bit based on what we presented after discussions with the client as far as just concept design. Then after that we'll talk a little bit about where we went as far as design development, how things changed after that conversation. So in the first slide we always like to provide some inspiration based upon the initial conversations that we have. We pull images from other places, and it can be restaurants, it can be retail, it can be anything that we find that comes in for concept, just to try and give the idea of where we're coming from as far as vibe, finishes, furniture, etc. So you'll see in here a few shots of a restaurant called Gulfstream that's out in California. Again, I think that ties back to Pacific Table, to modern California, seafood, etc. Then you're going to see just a couple of existing photos. Floor plan, as you can see here, like I said, it's very booth centric. And completely in the front of house, it's all booths, and then we have a central located bar. When you walk in the door, you're going to see the bar, and right behind that is a completely open kitchen concept. Bathrooms are towards the back, kitchen towards the back, and like I said, nothing changed. All we did were finishes. Concepts, there's a little bit of lighting, bar front that we thought would have been really cool. There's some great tile that looks like modern breeze block that we had kind of wanted to do. Some mesh kind of feel, it almost feels like nets for lighting at the entry. Some really cool mirrors, and again, it's just kind of giving a vibe that we are starting to feel for the space. Next would be like for dining. You'll see up here in the corner a picture of the existing dining area towards the back on the right. Had a very large sort of landscape, Texas landscape, again showing some lighting, some wall covering, and some ideas for finishes in the ceiling. Then we move into sort of the bar area, again bringing in some of the lighting that we showed on the initial slide for concept, the bar front again, but then you're seeing a close-up of what the tile is, what we think we want to do for the bar top, possibly a bar stool, and the existing flooring. And then come the bathrooms. So the bathrooms in this particular space were super dark, just raw concrete floors. It's like they were lighting the plumbing fixtures. It was very dark, industrial kind of feeling. So for this particular concept, we really wanted to brighten and lighten things up. You'll see mirrors, some gold tone accents, some brushed brass, again some lighter color as far as wall covering is concerned, and some lighting. So once we presented concept to the client, then we like to go in, we come back with all of the information and the feedback that we get from them, and then we go into design development, where we truly start picking what we think the actual finishes will be. Bar front, bar tops, paints, fabrics, lighting. And then we also talk about what are some of the things in the space that we really need to update and change that are going to maybe not necessarily be in the guest's peripheral vision, but for an overall vibe in the space it's going to make a difference. And then we start getting into walking through the space and what each particular area is going to look like. In here we start with the bar. Again, you'll see that original existing photo concept that has the arched ceiling and the bar space. Again, we're showing now the actual pendant that goes into the space, the idea behind what kind of bar stools we want to use. We did a beautiful viola marble on the countertop, white and brass inlaid bar front tile, and the existing floor of course stayed. But then we also took the ceiling and we stained it because it was too light, so we wanted to bring some depth and some warmth into the space. And you'll see also the paint colors that are selected. Next, you're going to see the dining area. We have the entry fixture, then we have the sconces that we replaced on the wall. The original concept was very much arts and crafts and mission. So some of that stone that you saw outside in the covered patio was also all on the walls, and we had some very traditional type of sconces in there. So we came back in, we did beautiful white stacked tile on the walls and some modern sconces with brass tones and clear glass, and it really helped to brighten the space up quite a bit. Again, you'll see we picked a really cool wall covering from Philip Jeffries that makes it feel almost like the ocean. It feels like waves. And so when you walk into the space and towards the back, it crosses over to both sides of the dining area. The columns we wrapped, originally they were just sort of plain and they were rough. They had just painted them out. So we boxed them out, put some mother of pearl and some really great, it looked like it's sort of a rattan, but it's sort of a rope look type of wall covering at the top, just to give it again a bit more of a nautical feel. All of the caps on all of the walls in the space match what the bar top are, but instead of using marble and a natural stone, which is very expensive, we used a porcelain tile, a porcelain slab that we cut that mimics what the bar top is, but it's about maybe a 1/4 of an inch thick, so it's much easier to deal with and much less expensive and ties the space together. The bathrooms, you'll see here on the far right bottom what some of the original look was with the darker doors, the plain floors, and just a bit more of an industrial type of look. We came in, we painted all of the doors to match the blues in the space. We brightened things up. We did a beautiful Cambria countertop and carried it as the back wall behind the plumbing, so kind of to lighten things up also behind the mirrors. Faucets were replaced as well as all of the lighting. So I think you see and hear the vibe that definitely updates the bathrooms. It's a much more welcoming, it feels cleaner too. It just felt really dark and dirty and dingy before. We then move into the outside patio where we removed all of that natural stone that was on the wall, the stacked stone, and came in with a beautiful ombre tile. It's a mosaic that kind of feels like the ocean, like the waves coming in. Originally we had thought about doing a really cool like mural in there like an octopus, and instead we decided to go with something that he uses in some of his other locations. We have a really great custom canoe, a boat that hangs from the ceiling. In the space also there was a rotisserie that we wanted to highlight, so we took some accent tile and highlighted that. There is a TV that's framed out up above, just because when in this particular space, because this is an enclosed patio, we can also use it for private dining, for corporate events, for celebrations, etc. So we want to have the opportunity to be able to do presentations and video roll if we need to for the guest. We were very lucky when we got this space that this patio is all enclosed in glass. It brings in lots of natural light, which helps bring the inside out and the outside in, sort of a biophilic kind of thing too, because they have really great landscaping out on the patio area. And these doors open and close. So if we have a larger party, we can also spill out onto the patio. And when the weather's really great, again, they open the doors. It's a really nice breeze, the spring and the fall. And then if we have inclement weather or when it gets incredibly hot like it does here in Texas, or even incredibly cold, we're able to still capture that space and use it for dining. The last slide, sometimes, not always, but we provide some artwork concepts. This particular client has a really great collection of his own and has some really great galleries that he works with. So sometimes he brings in some of his own or he sources it, and other times we work together and we provide. But you'll see here just some different ideas that we thought to bring in texture and color into the space, since a lot of it's mostly blue and white. I would like to also talk a little bit about furniture. Once we get through concept and we get through DD and we know that we're heading into construction, we start presenting furniture options. Again, for this one, all of the booths were existing, so we just came in and recovered them. No sense in using new. This was a fairly new concept, unfortunately, before it folded, so everything was in really great shape. But we did need new chairs and we did need to redo all of the patio furniture and bar stools. This particular client likes options, so we usually provide quite a few. I don't usually like to provide too many because it tends to be a problem. If you have too many choices, it's hard to make a decision. So I usually try to keep it to no more than 3, but again, like I said, this client pretty much likes a large selection. We offered 7 options for bar stools. Some were swivel, some had backs, some had arms, and then we went into chairs as well. Some were a little bit beefier and had upholstery on the seats and the backs, a little bit more cozy and comfy, and some were just a little more straightforward and modern. Once they take a look at it, usually I'll get them through, email or even through text. They'll circle what they like, and then we get pricing and we start selecting fabrics. So once he's made his selections and told us what he's liked, then we present a final furniture presentation. Here I offered 2 of the bar stools, and then there are 3 options as far as fabric combinations. We usually like to do vinyl on the seats or leather, and then the back we do something usually fun with fabric where we can bring in texture and color. For the dining chairs, this went in where ADA seating is at the bar as well as at the booths, and then also on the patio. We gave him 4 different options. 2 were as is. What you see is what you get, and then one of them was offered as you can do this seat color and this back color, so we could do a COM there. So this was Pacific Table Southlake. You got to see concept, DD, some furniture selections. If you want to see what we ended up with, please click the link and you can see the walkthrough. And if you would, leave me a comment, give me some feedback.